Welcome, everybody. You can hear me, I think. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for attending the performances the last couple of days and today. My name is Vasilis Economopoulos, and I'm the Director of Exhibitions Programs at Luma, based in Arles. We're going to have a conversation with Théo. Théo Mercier is an artist from France, has been here in Zurich actually for almost a month now, working on the performance and the exhibition that you just saw, the Outremonde, the second chapter of it, which is called Dream Hunters. It's a site-specific work in many ways, but it's a work which had a previous iteration. It had a previous life in last year. It starts last year.
Yeah.
And I will show some images of the previous version, the first chapter actually, to contextualize a little bit, and then we can go into some of the questions about the specific performance that we saw now.
Okay. Sounds great.
So I will show you some. Maybe I don't know if you can see. Maybe the lights here are too strong for this. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. So this is the performance when it was staged in Avignon at Collection Lambert.
Yeah.
And it was a similar context because it was also an exhibition space in many ways, right? It's a gallery space,
Yeah.
but it's a gallery space. Within the gallery space, you create a performative space where the activation is taking place.
Yeah.
Do you want to say a few things about what we're looking at now and what happened in Avignon and how the whole thing came together then?
Yeah. So hi, everybody here and there. My name is Théo Mercier. It's true, and I'm a visual artist and a stage director, and now we're talking about this project Outremonde and about the first and the second chapter. I was looking for somewhere a bit in between my two practices somehow, and somewhere in between the black box and the white cube, where and what could be that place, this kind of gray zone or this gray box that is somehow not really existing yet, but it's in what interests me. It's of course what you can see as an audience, but it's the backstage of how we produce such work is really interesting, and to find invest a place as a museum and to turn it as a performative space, as a studio as well, because all the work is made in situ, and all the rehearsal for the performance is made there. So it's kind of like a dream place for an artist where you can create, produce, do rehearsal and show the work. And so it's kind of a luxury to take so much time in an institutional museum space.
What is this exactly that we're seeing here? It's quite an oversized sculpture.
Right?
It's much bigger than what we have here.
Yeah. It's and much heavier because it's 25 tons of sand and water. Maybe you can go like that. You have a clearer idea on the proportions.
So it's just to say that we considered, when we were working on the exhibition, numerous options for what we would do here.
Yeah.
And it is true that the weight of these sculptures was prohibitive.
Yeah.
Because they're very heavy. They have many tons of weight. How are they made?
Yeah, I think that's the thing we need to clarify, because it's really everything is made. It's sculpted sand and water. So we just bring a lot of sand in museum space, then make some kind of boxes, and then we fill them up with sand and water to compress the sand, to make sure that in between the grains there is no more air, and to create some kind of giant bricks. And then we sculpt the bricks. It's a really fragile work. At the beginning it's wet, and during the months of the show, it get dry and get more and more fragile, and then it starts to disappear and collapse.
In the first chapter,
Yeah.
what was the state? What was the set? What was the kind of like meaning of the set? Because it's
Yeah.
almost like ruins of buildings,
Yeah.
ruins of let's say other civilizations, of other type of sculptures. It has a lot of references to historical
Yes.
sculptures.
Actually, the first character was the actual museum space. So the idea was to like create a world in a world in a world in a world, and like and what I wanted to do is like how we create. The original idea was to create the inner landscape that would be like the inner landscape of the main performer, the kid. And so it's more like a paysage intérieur, like a mental landscape, and how you create that in a natural architecture. And for that, I decided to bring sand, and I said, okay, that will be my way, like to create like this this mental world. It's something that you cannot touch, something that you cannot catch, something that you cannot have. It's really like belongs in the belly and in the end of the architecture. And I was imagining really like the architecture in Avignon. It was like 3 white rooms, 1 corridor, and ends with a blue auditorium. And I imagine it really as a radiography of a body, like with the thoracic was the white
chest. And,
this kind of traumatic corridor is not on picture. It was like a really like a nasty security corridor, really like with super trash paintings and water on the floor, and like was like more some kind of intestinal space. And then you arrive in the matrice. That was this blue space. And so I imagine really like the map of this Outremonde as a radiography of these kids. So when you went to the performance, you were with the kid and inside him as well. So it was like...
And here, like to move a little bit to here, the characters that we saw, there's the beginning is with the younger character, the younger person, the child, or is somewhere else the beginning of the choreography and the relationship between the characters?
Say it again.
Like if the kid is the kind of like the beginning, because there's a kind of like movement of the characters around space, and the kid is very prominent throughout. From the standing positions to the kind of like everything that happens. Is the beginning lies somewhere with the position of the kid or the child, or is it something somewhere else, the beginning of the...
This is somehow like for this chapter, it's like night, it's like one cycle of night and day. It's like this... the idea is that like, so the first chapter, we closed the first chapter 1 year ago. The idea is that like this kid was somehow like traveling under the world, like between Avignon till to Zurich. So it's some kind of like endless travel, and then we will continue with other chapter in other type of architecture. So it's always the same material, the sand, the same family of performers. The kids will grow up, we will get older. And so so for me it's really important to have this kind of like cycle, and that we just like meeting every year and like continue this. So it's some kind of... There is a beginning and an end, but it's more a beginning and an end of a day. So it just like...
As a continuity.
Just a slice of a bigger cycle.
And the dogs are a specific breed. Do you want to say a few things about the dogs? Because they're sleeping or resting. The eyes are open. There is something which is important. There's the obsidian stone, which is in the eyes of the dog inside the sculptures. And the obsidian stone plays also a role in general. From the first chapter, where there was also larger obsidian sculptures. But I think also the ball it's obsidian as well, or is like reflecting on that.
The ball that they have in the eye, they remains what happened in the first chapter. Like so it's kind of like metamorphosis, like of the same material that turn as eyes. Before they were like those big globes that reflect the world somehow. Like you can see this a lot in a lot of symbolic paintings. So it's kind of like in those globes there is like the entire world like reflected, and so it was really important for me to that somehow they catch everything like with their black ball eyes, and it's some kind of like those black eyes, they remain something really melancholic for me, some kind of like
sad in a way.
Yeah.
But the dogs are also like symbolically, if we think about dreams, which is also part of the title, the Dream Hunters, dogs symbolically in dreams mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
From fidelity to love to like interspecies relationships or loyalty, but also hunting and running and dreaming as well, and thinking of the horizon somehow. What are the other symbols that for you are important in this? Because it's very symbolic, everything from the movement to the beginning and through to the end.
For me, they are somehow like the keepers and the watcher, like the night watch. Somehow they cannot close their eyes. They are like, so if they cannot close their eyes, there is no day and night. It's like some kind of like endless life or death. For me, and they are as well the one that in the Egyptian mythology, like they are the one that are bringing you to the world of death,
right?
As well. So they are like, they have something really domestic and familiar, and like something really like ancestral as well, and you don't know what exactly, if they created this space or at the beginning. So for that the eyes are so important, is that I wanted that this world is like we are seeing through dog eyes, and that somehow it's some kind of a dog dream as well, something that we will never catch because we will never be able to know what is a dog dream, and I wanted to like that we see a world like through like animal with an animal perspective and a kid perspective. That was like
for me it was very visible, particularly felt it so much, particularly in relationship to the performer who is acting an animal. An animal. I don't know if it's a dog or not, but it's visibly kind of like related to a dog. And the tension that there is between becoming this animal and the relationship to humans at the same time. Because it's kind of like passing on through different relationships of power, subordination, submission, but also play and joyful kind of like, or and then the sadness as well at the same time of the relationship. How do you kind of like how did you construct these relationships between the actors, particularly in this sense of the dog kind of like character?
I think just like more in general, I think the sand and the work that we made with the sand is the main inspiration for everything, for the performance, for the performers as well. It's something like you can build and like remodel and destroy and restart, and some kind of like it's some kind of like endless possibilities. And this is what I wanted to express with the body and the character. They can grow, they can just disappear and come back with another shape or with another age, on another age or on another moment of their life. So I wanted to it's some kind of like time travel, body travel, like something really like fluid and about like metamorphosis. And it's actually the sculpture, you don't know if they're like they're coming out of the ground, or you don't know if they're just like getting destroyed and returning to Earth or something like that. And this is what I wanted to create with the team of performers. And for the dog, the idea was like to create some kind of really like a really like big a role with a lot of ambiguity. Like it's some kind of like super sexual character as well. You don't know if it's a dog or a reptile, if it's like friendly or a danger, and there is like it's kind of like guiding him through this inside world, and it sees a lot with dreams. Like there is this kind of in a dream, like I don't know how are your dreams, but in my dreams, like there is like things are shifting a lot, and people that you know so well, they can behave like in such a different way in your dreams, or you can like reappropriate your daily life in such a like different point of view, and so that was a bit like the way I wanted to imagine this even this family. You don't know if it's a family, if they're this kind of like mother of kid. You don't know if she's like you don't know if it's something tender or if it's a menace, or
because it absolutely also questions therefore the construction of our current way of engaging with others, right? Also through the dreams, but also through the reality.
Yeah.
We construct relationships that we categorize based on a tradition that we think that this is how it works. But this can also be just one option of the way that we can relate to others, right?
Yeah, definitely. And this is what interests me in this kind of like chapter about sleeps. Is like this place of like of total freedom, like this place where everything can just like.
And there's also something
really alive,
quite meditative and mystical at the same time. Particularly also thinking that at the beginning, the character who is suspended upside down, it's just like it's an intense. There's a lot of so much tension in this kind of movement and in the shape of a body upside down for some time, touching the ground and moving around. You want to say a few things about this because it's also like it sets the tone. In many ways for what is to come.
But it's like symbolically some kind of a clock in the middle of the room, and this kind of like insomniac kid is just like. When you cannot fall asleep, you can just like stare at the ceiling forever, or like look at a lamp in your bedroom and like starting to like travel through the lamp, like and I was like something. Maybe it's like with the intensity of the concentration of the kid, like it makes this body shape, like alive, and that will helps him somehow with this like sand tricks or the. But it's like it's somehow like the power of visions, like when you just like focus or do meditation. I'm not good at meditating, but I have some other way to just like I don't know, just like connect to sing, or if you just spend 1 week in a white cube. At some point, the white cube is talking to you, and it's true. Or the blender, and so it somehow is like. It's like talking to this body and like giving like shape and movement
and the beds obviously like the reference to sleep, but also they are different beds, and as you say, some of them they might be seemingly coming out of the ground or in the process of being destroyed. But also like the folding and the sand as well, they're also a little bit like a clock as well, because it's like I think the passing of time is marked by the movement from one bed to another somehow, right? And this is the kind of cycle of sort of the performance, the cyclical movement somehow, which ends at the same place where it began.
And even on a more like a social and political point of view, there is not the same imaginary with a mattress like this, with a hole in the middle or something, a double king-size bed, like really well made, and so it's a bit like a travel through like inequality with sleeping. And so there is like they're like they're talking, when you're talking about different sleeps, you're talking about different lives as well.
And there's something about reincarnation as well. I mean, there's something about regeneration, the cycle of life, maybe death, maybe rebirth. Is it something that is from the beginning, even from the first chapter, part of the thinking, and also continues here?
It's like it's a bit about what I was telling you with about the sand and the relationship with how we make all this. It's like like what interests me with the sand is like, of course, the poetical aspect of it, but as well the political aspect of it. That it's a matter that is completely disappearing because we're like just taking sand from the sea, from the river, from the mountain. We're just like somehow like destroying our like natural environment to create where we're living, the cities, because all the cities, they're made out of sand, concrete, glass. It's just sand, 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 sand. So we're just like, and it's not an end of, it's just like metamorph. It's like some kind of like reincarnation as well of nature, because it will for sure collapse and become something.
Absolutely.
Maybe not sand again, but something new.
Absolutely.
And it's, and
this, for example, like for me, was like a very important scene or moment when you throw the kind of like the ball and then a different game begins somehow.
Yeah.
Did you look at video games and the way video games construct their characters? Because at some point I also felt like it can be part of a video game structure.
Yeah.
Where there's characters who are always like resting or not moving until something is happening that will reactivate them. So, and then I kind of think that also video games have a lot of dreamlike sequences. The worlds that they are based on, they're dreamlike worlds.
Yeah.
Very often.
Definitely.
They refer to dreams somehow or to unrealistic or unreal sense of space and environments. I was wondering because, but no video games.
No, but I'm happy to hear about this.
What's next? Do you know what's the third chapter? How do you imagine the third chapter from this kind of like experience as well?
The third chapter will take place in Paris in next October. In La Conciergerie, it's a medieval place. It will be a really larger scale because it's like 2,300 quadrat meters. It's really like, it's one giant room with arcades, and it's and filled with, it's an historical place, but those the white cubes as well, but it's like so it will be like charged with like more ghosts and no art ghosts, but like more like it will be, now that this chapter is like open like for a few months now, it's like I'm wondering, I don't know exactly what's next actually.
And here the setup will remain as an exhibition until September. And there will be another activation in August during the Teatro Spectacle. Will you rethink any of the sequence?
Yeah, there is something a bit really exciting for us that like for this like closing ceremony of this Dream Hunter chapter, we will actually, like, the performers will be able to perform on the sculpture because it will be the end of the show as well. So like during like the cycle of performance, we're gonna like destroy or like metamorphose the work, so the exhibition somehow will just like completely change because it will be like mostly sand afterwards all around, and then the show will remain one more week with this completely like new topography, like, so it's pretty exciting. It's like some kind of like new phase of the show that will be like created not by the sculpture but by the performers this time. So it's like a kind of
so the reverse is a little bit the order of the who guides whom.
Because now somehow like we are dependent of the sculptural, and so we will.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
And the materiality will be really different because now it's really wet and heavy. But when it's dry, it's really like dusty. It's really thin.
Yeah.
So it will be like more something about dust than earth.
Absolutely.
With the same material. So which is, I think, interesting.
Would anybody have any questions? Do we have a microphone? Or you can.
I hope
you can say the question loud, and I can repeat it if we cannot hear it.
I was wondering.
Yes.
In London, I've seen.
I'm a st-
I don't actually need a microphone.
Yeah.
Anyway, in London, I've seen homeless people create the same sort of sand dogs, and I was wondering if there was a connection.
yes.
So the question is about the sand dogs, which are being created by homeless persons, particularly in London. But it's also something which is seen around the world.
Yeah.
We discussed this actually. That it's a phenomenon which is seen around the world.
Yes.
How is it?
It's a community, like they are not homeless. They are like it's a story of migration between like those dogs. We start with Céline, who is working with me at the studio. We wanted to. The first idea was to invite those people that one was super good sculptor, and we saw him like once or twice in Marseille. Like we have to find this guy, and I wanted to invite him to do a sculpture for the show in Avignon. But then impossible to find him. But then we start to do a little investigation. No, he's in Lille. No, he's in Brussels. He's in London. And we discovered that they are like everywhere. But then the people that are making the sculpture, they were never visible on the, I don't know, Instagram, whatever picture. So it was just like they were all different sculptures, and some dogs were really cute, some were really nasty and ugly, and so it was like you never saw like the person who is, but you can try to find where the same sculpture is traveling through that dog, because I say, no, this is not him. No, this is not him. This is not, this is him. He's in Portugal, and then so that was like actually that was really a starting point, like this and it was like more like my interest was more an aesthetic interest at the beginning, and then it brought us in a really like completely different like social and political story behind the sand and behind the dog, and we are like and so even like the imaginary, like it's a dog is when you are just like living in the streets, it can be really one of your best friend and guardian, and so in the street it takes a really like different and something that you have to redo every day, like your bed or your sleeping situation, and that when cops are arriving, they just like run or leave the door. It's really like it's charged with like something really, really like different. And in that chapter, so the present, because this landscape can be like look some kind of like a mysterious, dreamy landscape, or like a terrifying, realistic landscape of like war picture, or like I don't know, precarity with sleeping. So it was important for me, like there is this ambiguity, like in what kind of space we're arriving exactly. Is it an oniric place, or is it a traumatic place, or a super nasty realistic place? And the dog, they are as well
in
like,
between.
They're in between all this, and.
I have one more question.
Yes.
What are your dreams? And while working on this project, do you dream about the project? I mean, normally people dream about things that they do at very specific times. Their dreams are being infested by the reality. Do you dream about this? Did you dream about things of this project?
No, I think it's really like daydreams, because it's really like, I don't know, even the way we worked, and it's just like to spend like somehow like those like museum space, they become, because I'm spending a lot of more than with other type of installation that I'm doing. Like I'm taking a lot of time in the same place without, and somehow it's like it's becoming super like mental, and it's and I'm just like following like, I don't know what actually. It's like I'm just like following like the ghost, the vibration of things. It's really like it's a really like it's really different way of creating a work than what I do for. It's not conceptual. It's really like sensual and emotional and
body-like. Right?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, if you don't have any questions, just thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This and for the performances.
And thank you for the invitation.
And to all the performers, the group of people who worked on this, which was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We look forward to seeing it again in August.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And there will be drinks outside in the terrace, so please do join us for 1 or 2 or 3 in the sunshine.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.